am I struggle busting today? It's probably because I had drinks earlier. Shit. Hey folks, my name is Jen, and welcome back again. Welcome back if you're a returning visitor to this land. Welcome. If this is your first time. I'm going to try to keep my rambling and my ums to a minimum because you don't have time for that. I don't have time for it. And not to mention, I am very hot right now because it's too hot outside to open the window and I can't have the fan running because that noise will be in the background. So we're going to try to go through this very quickly, discussing my reads for June. So I've been having some trouble so far really reading or sticking to anything that I have picked out for the month. So I have a collection here of things that I've already been hoping I can get to during the summer in general, and I'm trying to go for feelings of like what I potentially will be in the mood for in June, because it's almost here. Like, it will literally be here in like a couple of days. So first off are a couple of books that I've kind of set aside specifically for purposes. One being, so far this year I've been trying to at least try to plan to read one of my unread books that have been sitting in shame on my nightstand for varying amounts of time. So I have one of those, and then I also am trying to get through all of my classics. My goal is to read every single unread classic I own by the end of the year. So I have one of those. So first up for one of my unfinished reads is The Underground Railroad by Nicholson Whitehead. I started this, I don't even remember when, January, February, something like that, and just never got past like the first chapter or so. So I would really like to finish reading this in June. This is following a young slave named Cora, who seizes a chance to escape slavery and head north aboard the Underground Railroad. However, this is not like the Underground Railroad of our like history as we know it. It's actually like literally a railroad that exists underground. It's not like a metaphor or anything. It is literally a railroad that runs under the earth, and it's I guess there's like some magical stuff involved too. So it's like I don't know, it sounds like a cross between historical fiction and fantasy, sort of, or I know there's like a certain term for it and it is out of my brain right now. Speculative fiction. Yes, it is speculative fiction, which I don't think I've read any speculative fiction before, really, that I can recall. So, yeah, I would like to at least read more in this month. I would like to finish it, but I'd at least like to read further along in the book by the end of June. As for the classic that I want to read this month of June, you know, June is the summertime, we're thinking of the ocean and stuff. So I thought, what a perfect time to pick up the ultimate ocean adventure classic, and that's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. So, to be honest, I don't really know a lot about this book, and frankly, I don't want to know a lot about this book. I am actually kind of looking forward to going into this not knowing too much about what the plot is. I know vaguely that it involves Captain... I can't remember what his name is. It's either Nero or Nemo. I'm leaning towards Captain Nemo. It's like the captain of this basically submersible ship called the Nautilus, and it's like basically the world's greatest submarine or something like that. And all I know is it's involving that, but I don't think it's like technically fully about him. Like it's not following him. I believe that it's following the perspective of another character who like encounters him or something. And it's all about like the crazy shit that happens basically under the sea, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm going into this blind and I'm pretty okay with that because I just think it'll be much better that way. I am a little bit nervous about this classic. It's a little bit thicker of a Jules Verne. I'm just a little bit nervous about Jules Verne entirely because Around the World in 80 Days is one of my favorite books. But I also read Journey to the Center of the Earth, I don't know, like 3-4 years ago, and I absolutely hated it. I actually let my parents borrow it and then told them they could keep it because I didn't want it in my sight anymore. So, I'm a little bit nervous on how I will potentially enjoy this, but largely my problem with Journey to the Center of the Earth had to do with the characters, so as long as the characters in here aren't absolute shit, I think that I'm hoping I'll have a good time. Along the lines, actually, of keeping with the seashore theme, I guess, I felt it was appropriate to also pick up this month Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan. This is my tentative read for the month because 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is so thick and I've got some other reads here that I want to get to. This is the one tentative book. I'm hoping that I will be able to pick this up, but I'm not 100% sure. This is a different take on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, actually. So this book is following Anna. She comes from like this famous seafaring family, but unfortunately her parents died a while back in a freak accident, and her brother are orphans, and they've been attending this school. It's called the Harding Pencroft Academy, which basically is responsible for putting out the world's most famous naval adventurers, warriors, scientists, etc. So she has just entered her first year. It is the finale, actually, it is the finale of her first year, and traditionally freshmen have a trial at sea, kind of, I guess it's like a final project exam thingy, and her classmates are kind of sent off, and shit goes wrong, basically. So that's following this, and yeah, it's like his take on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm not 100% sure if this is like supposed to be some kind of sequel or if this is just like his retelling of it, but it sounds really interesting. And of course I have to read the classic first to pick this up, so I won't A, get spoiled, and B, will understand more of the context, I guess. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Then I've got a couple of Clive Cusslers here. Sort of Clive Cusslers. So this first one is by Clive Cussler and Craig Durgo, and it is The Sea Hunters. This is featuring the true adventures of famous shipwrecks. So this is a non-fiction novel. It is one of his, I think he only wrote a couple of non-fiction novels. So this is the first of 2 volumes that feature bits about famous shipwrecks. Like there's fictionalized accounts of these wrecks happening, and then Cussler and Craig Durgo go into deeper information about their experiences finding these shipwrecks and like documenting it. This is featuring the crew of NUMA, the National Underwater and Marine Agency. Cussler's NUMA was and is very different, of course, than his fictionalized NUMA, which his famous character Dirk Pitt is a part of. It's not like a government-sanctioned special like agency. It's not like that. It's just the name of his company that he basically started with a bunch of others to find and document shipwrecks. So yeah, this is following those adventures. I definitely read this a long ass time ago, but I did want to reread it because I also have the second book as well that I want to read at some point this summer. But yeah, so this is like melding like history and then like shipwrecks, which I'm also kind of fascinated with. So I don't know, I find his writing to be, I've talked about him before, and like Clive Cussler was just able to make the most boring shit sound so friggin' fascinating. So yeah, I'm excited to dive back into one of his books. And along those lines, I have The Devil's Sea, which is a new Dirk Pitt novel. This is actually by Clive Cussler's son, Dirk Cussler. You gotta say it's Clive Cussler's. It is the first, I believe it's the first book that he is writing without his father, since Clive Cussler passed away recently. So yeah, so that's a little bittersweet. I'm a little bit nervous about this read just because I know how much I enjoyed Clive Cussler's like writing in general, and anytime he wrote with other people. I didn't always like his books as much, but I have read some of the others that he did write with his son previously, and those were very good, so I'm kind of hopeful. I do know that my dad really enjoyed this. That's who this is not mine, I'm borrowing it from my dad. So yeah, I'm hopeful that this will be a good one, although yeah, I will feel a little bittersweet just because it's Dirk by himself writing a Dirk Pitt novel and not with Clive, but yeah. Okay, then into other summertime reads. First off, I have been waiting patiently to do this reread basically since I picked this up, but it is A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. So this is actually my favorite Shakespeare play, or I'll say this is my favorite Shakespeare play up until this point, because I haven't technically read all of them. I have read a good chunk, but I haven't made my way through all of them. But at this point in history, this is my favorite of his. It's whimsical, it's funny, there's a lot of shenanigans happening in this book, but it has been a really long time since I've read this. I'll say I probably have not read this since maybe college, maybe before that. And I do have a really nice copy of it, but it's an old copy, so it does not have the footnotes, and I need the footnotes to help me understand the bard better and not get super frustrated. So, I got this Folgers edition that has excellent footnotes and context and stuff last year, so I could do this reread. So it's June, Midsummer's coming, perfect time to read this, I think, just perfect time. If you don't know anything about this play, this involves two couples, two very complicated, different couples, basically. We have some love triangles, some love rhombuses. There's just some stuff, some complicated shit happening. And then we also, so they're all in the forest on Midsummer, which is the most magical time of the year, essentially. And so they're all in the woods doing their thing, you know, trying to get down, trying to keep the others from getting down so they can get down, like that, you know, a whole bunch of stuff. And then we also have some, I don't know what to call them exactly. I don't know what to call them. They're like workers, craftsmen. There's like a carpenter, there's like a weaver. They're like basically from the market or something, and they are also just camping out in the woods. And then you have the Fae folk, who are involved in their own kind of, like, the Queen of the Fairies and the King of the Fairies are in like a fight and having some kind of power struggle right now, so they got all of their shenanigans happening at the same time. So just these three parties are going to get interconnected into crazy shit, and it's just really weird. But yeah, I'm really excited to be doing a reread of this finally, and then I'm honestly probably going to watch the movie like after I finish reading this, which I also highly recommend. Yeah, because it's really good. That was actually my introduction to this play, was watching that movie and going, what? Like, 9-year-old me being, what is happening right now? So, yeah. And what is summer, basically, without camping? So, I've got a camping story. This is The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. This is part of the, well, I don't know what to call it. It's not really part of the Truly Devious series because they have the Truly Devious trilogy on the back of the book. So it's not really part of that anymore. It's, this is a completely separate novel. It's just involving some of the same characters. Stevie Bell, amateur detective. This is taking place after the events in the Truly Devious series. Stevie is home from school for the summer and is figuring that things are going to be pretty normal and pretty boring until she receives a message from, I think it's the head counselor? The owner. Okay. The owner of Sunny Pines, formerly known as Camp Wonder Falls. Basically where this unsolved box in the woods case, basically. So it says, back in 1978, 4 camp counselors were killed in the woods outside of the town. Their bodies left in a gruesome display. So she is basically being asked to come out there to help solve this, like, unsolved murder mystery at the camp. And she is also, I mean, it's a camp, so she's also invited to, like, camp out there and have some friends come along and just have, like, a fun summer in the woods while also solving a mystery. So, yeah, it sounds pretty cool. There are a couple of unsolved cases that take place in camps that kind of haunt the hell out of me. So, I'm pretty interested to see, you know, where this is going and what Maureen Johnson might have pulled from. I'm kind of curious the possibilities of things that she might have gotten, like, inspiration from. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about this because I really liked the Truly Devious series, but I'm also hesitant, like I usually am, when there's like offshoots of series or anything, because sometimes I don't like end up enjoying them as much. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm also like super excited because I just really loved the other books and I really like her writing. So I'm thinking this is going to be a really good time. And the last thing that I am hoping to get to in June is kind of a book and also kind of a series, maybe. We'll see what happens. So if you saw one of my other videos, recently I did like an unboxing of my old things. I've been trying to slowly bring like my childhood and like college stuff home with me from like back home with my parents so I can get it out of their basement so they can do other things with their lives besides store my shit. One of the collections basically that I grabbed from there was the Georgia Nicholson series. This is book 1, Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging. This is by Louise Renison. I absolutely adored this series as a teenager. I was like obsessed with it. But I only ever read like books 1 through 7. I never actually finished the series, so I recently bought the last 3. I recently bought the last 3 books in the series, so I could reread my favorites before and then also finish like the series. And I'm hoping to be able to squeeze that in this summer. These are pretty fast reads from what I remember. So I have a feeling that once I get started, I'm gonna fly through them. So I'm saying for June, because I have these other books, I'm hoping to at least read book number 1, if not more of this series. This series is following the trials and tribulations of Georgia Nicholson, who is, I think she's like 14? Yeah, I think she's about 14 years old, and a British schoolgirl at this like all-girls, I think it's a private academy. I'm pretty sure she wears uniform, so I think it's a private school. I don't know. I'm American, obviously, so I'd have no idea how British school systems work. I don't know if everywhere has uniforms or if just private schools have uniforms. I'm not sure. But yeah, anyway, so this is the trials and tribulations of her dealing with like high school and bullies and shitty teachers, and she's like overly dramatic and hilarious and constantly trying to be herself, even though herself is she's really weird and kind of awkward, and just dealing with all of that and her weirdo parents and her little sister and her cat that is Angus, who's just constantly wandering around getting himself into trouble. So I don't know, I remember just loving this series, so I'm thinking that this is gonna be hopefully a good time. I'm hoping that this still holds up. Okay, so there you have it. These are all of the books that I am really hoping to get to in June. I think this is going to be a pretty exciting reading month. I hope you guys are also super excited about like the start of your summer reads. Please let me know down below what you are reading. Let me know if you've read any of these or if any of these sound like appealing to you or anything. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you are having like just a wonderful week. Bye guys.